Hey everyone, Vegan Cupid here. I am really excited for this special live video that I have today because I have a very special guest. And we connected via this group, yet another amazing bonus of this group, connecting with all kinds of people. And so I will tell you more about him in a minute in case you didn't see the announcement about the video. So a couple of announcements this Sunday. I am hosting a sci-fi nerds virtual party. Okay, so if you are single and you are vegan and you are into sci-fi, you will not want to miss this. It's happening this Sunday. If you want the link to sign up, just leave a comment and I will pop it in the chat. But it's also, if you scroll through the feed, you will see it there as well. Okay, so that's my first announcement. The second announcement, and you may have seen it. So this applies only for the men. Okay, sorry, ladies, but I have one more opening left for a matchmaking client for this year. Okay, only one spot left. So I am going to be very selective about who I give that spot to. Okay, so if you are a man and you are seriously committed in finding the vegan woman of your dreams, and you're open to meeting a woman basically anywhere because love has no zip code, get in touch with me and let's talk. Okay. And then the final announcement is that you may have seen it as well. I posted about it, did a little short video about it last week, but I'm offering a brand new program. I'm super excited about it. It's 4 weeks, and it's basically a program where you are going to be in front of my amazing network of vegan singles all over US and Canada. Okay, I'm going to be giving you amazing opportunities that you only get as a client. So if you're interested in learning more, leave a comment and I will get in touch with you and give you more info. Okay, so those are my final announcements. So if you are watching live or you're watching the replay, please leave a message, a comment right now. Tell me who you are. Tell me what your thoughts are about hypnotherapy. Okay, because I'm really curious to know if you guys know a lot about it or don't know a lot about it. So leave me a comment. And if you have any questions, leave a comment and we will answer questions at the end. And even if you're watching the replay, okay, I personally read and reply to all comments, and Dr. Q will also be replying to comments. Okay, so we want to make this interactive. We want to give you guys a lot of value. So please leave your questions by leaving a comment. Okay. So, all right. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Q. He is a clinical psychologist and hypnotherapist. And yes, he is single. That's why he's in this group. Okay. So Dr. Q, please introduce yourself. Give us a bit of background of who you are, how you got into this, and all this fun stuff.
Well, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. Love what you're doing and how you're connecting people. I think it's really wonderful how you're bringing people together. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
My name is Dr. Thomas Quinlan. I'm a clinical psychologist and a hypnotherapist. I've been practicing since 2005. I'm located down here in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I've been doing hypnosis probably for the last 2 to 3 years. And I'm using it as a tool within my therapy practice to accelerate what I'm doing as far as helping clients. So it's been really an exciting addition. And it's amazing by how quick and effective it is in helping others transition trauma or anxiety or depression, things that have happened in the past that's keeping them from living the life that they want and finding the person that they want. And that's good and healthy for them.
That's awesome. And also, could you share a bit about your journey to veganism? This is not a video about veganism, but I think it's really interesting the way that you applied your own journey to the work that you're doing with your clients. And I'm sure others will be very fascinated to hear about it.
Yeah, so a few years back, I was finding myself what I thought was eating correctly and healthy, but I was gaining weight and I just wasn't feeling good and my lab work wasn't well. And I started watching a couple videos, Forks Over Knives, and a couple other documentaries about food. And so I completely changed my diet. And when I did kind of as being a scientist, scientific study on myself. I went and got my labs done, And then I changed my diet and I started juicing for 2 weeks. And then I found that I went back and got my labs done again, and everything just plummeted down to like a good, healthy rate. And then I maintained a good, healthy diet. And each year that I go back to see my physician for my checkup, he's like, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. All my levels and all my labs are perfect. So I found through my own journey what a amazing and wonderful thing just eating right can do to you. And so then I decided, as I was working in my professional practice, I was seeing a lot of people with diabetes type 2 and that were really struggling. And they were in the nursing homes prematurely because of their medical issues. And so I started thinking, how can I help people not get here? And so we started Healthy Lifestyles Tampa Bay, and I brought on partnered with a dietitian who is great at what she does, and we have a personal trainer. So we really bring people together in those three important components of mental, physical, nutritional, and the psychological part to really help them move to a healthy lifestyle. And what we're really focused on is preventive medicine, which you don't hear a lot about, you don't talk a lot about. So for people that are vegans and vegetarians, they are living that healthy lifestyle as you do and just gaining the benefits for it. So this is kind of how that transition all took place for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's all connected, right? And that's why when I work with my clients, I don't focus on just helping them find love. I really help them focus on themselves first because that's where it all starts.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk a bit more about how, how your love life can be, impacted by your subconscious mind. And we're talking about your blocks when you're feeling stuck, right? So we'll dive more into that a bit later. But can you just, give us an overview of, because I know when you say hypnotherapy, people think about, you're on stage and the hypnotherapist is making you do all these funny things. And yeah, that's like one form of it, but really there's really great benefits to hypnotherapy. And I've personally done it myself as well. And it's really, really interesting stuff. So if you could tell us about some of the common misconceptions about it.
Yeah, you're right. Most people's experience with it is going to a comedy show or at college or some sort of entertainment with hypnotherapy. The hypnotherapist comes and they get people barking like dogs and quacking like ducks and all this crazy stuff. And you're in the audience. And even myself, when I first saw it that way, I was like, God, the hypnotherapist is taking over their mind. But the thing to remember is those people that are on stage want to be in those hypnotic trance and when you're in a hypnotic trance, you know what's going on around you. You're fully aware, and sometimes you're even more aware because your senses are heightened. So that's a really big misconception, and people see it also in the movies, and the movies tend to put it in a very bad light. So unfortunately, people get a misconception about that. But when I work with someone in my clinical practice, you got to remember everything that we're doing is to help that person. And so there's a real collaboration and there's a trust. And like I said, I help people actually do something that they already normally do on a day-to-day basis. And when you think about hypnosis, what it is an altered state of consciousness. And our minds are already pre-programmed to do that. And we go into these altered states of consciousness throughout the day. If you've ever daydreamed, right, you could be looking off in space and someone could say, hey, Dr. Q, and you almost have to shift your mind to come back to the present moment because what you're doing in that moment is experiencing a trance. Or if you've ever read a good book or been totally engrossed in a movie, you just block out the rest of the world. And those are all trances. So what I help people do is collaboratively, we go into this altered state of consciousness together to help them. And it's very pleasant. And it's even people that are struggling with trauma and post-traumatic stress, it doesn't re-traumatize the person. the way that we approach it. So it's a very healthy way to get the brain functioning in a much better way for yourself.
Right. And you had explained that, you started off by just doing, clinical psychology, but then you added the hypnotherapy and you found that your clients progressed so much faster and that they were able to actually, under hypnotherapy, you were able to retrain their brains and they didn't have those subconscious blocks anymore. So a lot of people, they feel like, that they're doomed, that like this is who they are and that they won't change, but that's not true, right? So it's absolutely possible, and I'd love to hear, because people like really real life examples. So if you could give, real life examples of your patients, of how they've been able to overcome whatever's keeping them stuck. And of course, if you could give an example of, related to someone who wants to find love, for example, but something is holding them back inside.
Yes, so that's a good point, because when people are struggling with, we all have that inner voice, that's telling us things. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. And what we know about the subconscious mind is when we're very young, between 0 and 12 years of age, we are very susceptible to our environment and things that are told to us. It goes kind of right into our subconscious mind, and it can become what we call a belief or a script. And these are things that we tell ourselves about ourselves. And one of the people that I was working with, and I'm going to give names, but these are all pseudo names. So I was working with one woman. Her name was Karen, and she was in her 40s, and she kept struggling in her relationships. And what she was doing was picking guys that were not good for her, that wouldn't love her or wouldn't respect her. And if she found someone that was a good fit for her, that would have loved her and took care of her, she would find something wrong with them, or she would sabotage the relationship in somehow. And what we discovered, when she was probably around 7 or 8 years old, her mom and dad were going through a very bad divorce. And one day her mom was very angry at her mom, and she turned to Karen and just off the cuff said, "Oh, Karen, don't ever fall in love. You're just going to have your heart broken," right? Well, that became a belief in the subconscious mind. And Karen didn't even really remember that until we started doing therapy. Because I asked her, growing up, what was the messages about relationships in your family? And that came out. And what that told us was that her subconscious mind, the goal of it is always to protect us and to keep us healthy. So that subconscious mind took that saying, or, it's almost like a suggestion from mom to not fall in love, that it's dangerous and we're going to get hurt. And in order to protect her, the subconscious mind started having her attracted to people that would not love her. And so she just kept going from relationship to relationship. So it wasn't until we did hypnosis and we were able to neutralize that connection, or neutralize that belief that if you fall in love, you're going to get hurt, to I can be in a good, healthy relationship that honors me and honors myself, and I can experience love in a good, positive way. Once we replaced that suggestion, the old suggestion, with that one, she was able to go on and find someone and have a wonderful relationship with that man. So that's a good example about how something that is said to us and we believe and we take into our subconscious can have long-term effects throughout our adulthood.
Right. And that's what I often tell people. It's like so many people unfortunately have limiting beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I call it a story, and it's a story that you're telling yourself. So
Yeah.
you're telling yourself the same thing over and over and over again. And when that happens, like, you actually start believing it. And so
Right.
that's why I'm such a huge advocate of positive thinking
Mm-hmm.
and repeating positive thoughts all the time, because the more, you're telling yourself that, yes, like this is true, right? And so that's why the limiting beliefs, the negative talk is so it's so detrimental,
Yeah.
right?
And we
And
believe
so,
we are what we believe, what we tell
yes,
ourselves. We are what we are. So, again, that is another situation where we can be telling ourselves negative things. I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not. I have low confidence. People don't like me. These are things that can be said out loud in our voice, or they're in our subconscious mind that keeps us from experiencing those or taking the risk in order for us to have a good, healthy relationship and commitment with someone else.
for sure. I mean, I talk to a lot of people. I've been helping vegan singles find love for over 9 years now.
Yeah,
That's a long time.
yeah, and you've
And
probably heard a lot
I've
of
I've
different things.
I've I really feel like I've seen and I've heard it all, and I am just so passionate about trying to help as many people as I can. And a lot of people reach out to me, right? They book a Cupid call with me, and they say that they really do want to find love. But then when it comes down to it, unfortunately, a lot of people are not able to give themselves permission, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because they're scared, and a lot of people have their guard up, and that guard is meant to protect you. But
right.
if it's up all the time, you won't allow yourself to be able to find love if that's what you want,
Hmm.
right?
And one of the things that I do in hypnosis, everybody's familiar with their gut, trusting your gut. We hear that all the time. And a lot of people, when they don't trust their gut, usually something bad happens, right? Oh, there was red flags that I ignored and I didn't trust my gut. And now here I am in this bad relationship. And so in hypnosis, I tell people to focus on your gut. Your gut is one of your highest levels of yourself. It connects you to the universe and your spirit, and it's really one of these unique parts of us that help keep us alive and keep us safe. So I tell people, or I make the suggestion that you will always listen to your gut whenever you meet someone, and your gut will be very clear to tell you if this is a good person or not. And so what happens is when people go out and they start dating, they come back and they go, gosh, I listened to my gut and you're right. It does tell me if this is a good person or not. So we use that instinct to help them weed through people in order to find the right person for them.
Right. I call it my intuition, right? And I
Yeah.
rely on it a lot. And it wasn't always like that, right? Because you can go a very long time with ignoring your intuition and ignoring your gut. But then when you actually start really paying attention to it, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah. And
It,
it will never lie to you. That's the thing. And we're not taught these things. We're not taught these when
yeah.
we're younger, and we're
Yeah.
at a disadvantage because we have everything we need within ourselves to be successful. But these things happen to us and we get these negative messages, or we get the wrong messages, or an event happens, and people, they get fearful, or they get anxious, or they have a bad experience, or they come from a bad environment where they never felt love, or they never got love growing up, and they don't really know what it is. So it's hard when you don't have it when you're young, or you have parents that don't have good relationships, and that's your role model.
Yeah.
So really, we have to, as a psychologist, we really go back and help people see things in a different way, and then we use the subconscious mind to change those neural pathways. And once you change those neural pathways to good, healthy ways, it just becomes the way it is moving forward. It doesn't change. It's quite
Yeah.
amazing. And it works that quickly.
It really is. And that's why I also teach my clients about their love language and their attachment style,
Mhm.
right? Because it's really important to have that information so that you can just recognize it and be aware, and also know, because there's a lot of people, especially in this group, their attachment style is avoidant, right? And I was talking to someone about this lately who said that she didn't realize that she was that. And I actually had a couple of weeks ago, I did a live video with a therapist who we did a whole video on love languages and attachment style. And like she was saying, just because you are a certain way, you are not doomed, right? Like it doesn't define you. That it's you don't have to be that way forever, right? It's about acknowledging it and trying to do positive things to change it, right? So no one is doomed.
No one is doomed, and everybody can change.
That's
Doesn't matter
that.
how long
Yeah,
it's been going on, it can change.
it's
You
a
can
hundred.
change.
Yeah, it's 100% your mindset, and if you are willing to put in the time and the effort
Yeah.
to it, right? So
And
yeah,
that's really the beauty of hypnosis is all you have to do is want it to work, and it will work incredibly well. And a lot of people in therapy talk about the inner child and the wounding of the inner child. Well, that's basically your subconscious mind. And so when we do these techniques in hypnosis, you're going right to the inner child, right to the subconscious mind, and you're making that change. And once you make that change, it becomes permanent. So it doesn't matter how long it's been going on or how severe it is, that change could be made in 1 or 2 sessions. And it's a lifelong change. So
yeah.
people are not doomed at all. Actually, there is a very easy and simple way that does not re traumatize people that allows us to help them.
That's awesome. So I see that there, and Dr. Q, there's some kind of feedback. I don't know if you hear it. I don't know if you're moving your phone or if it's my earbuds or what, but can anybody else hear that?
Yeah,
Can you hear it?
I hear a little crackling. I mean, my phone's stationary.
I'm not sure. But yeah, so I see that there are quite a few people watching live. So I would love for you to leave a comment right now. Tell us what you think about hypnotherapy. And if you have any questions for Dr. Q right now would be a great time to ask. And if anybody's watching, can you please tell me if you hear that feedback? Because if so, I'll take my AirPods out. Seems to only be like when I'm talking, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's coming through on your end.
Okay.
One thing I do want to say is even people that have trauma in their history, sexual abuse, rape, molestation, things like that, when we do hypnosis, unlike traditional psychotherapy, where the therapist will say, tell me about what happened and how did you feel about that and journal about that. In my perspective, I see that as on some level detrimental to the person because you're reopening the wound. You're reopening this. And what we do in hypnosis is we actually neutralize the event and the emotional connection to it. So even people with trauma, we can neutralize the emotional connection to the trauma without re traumatizing the person by having them relive it. And we do that through metaphors. So one of the metaphors that I use for everybody in the first session, it's called the tree of life. And this is a metaphor where when a person is born, a tree germinates somewhere in the world and they're connected together. And as the tree grows, or as the person grows, the tree grows with them. And as things happen to the person, good, bad, and different, they're reflected on the tree. So under hypnosis, I have them reconnect with the tree, and I say, I want, as you look at your tree, you're going to see all these brown, dry leaves that represent fears, painful memories, trauma, whatever it may be. And I want you to pull those leaves off, put them in a pile. We're going to light it on fire, watch the smoke come up, watch the winds of change come and make the smoke disappear. Now, the interesting thing about the subconscious, it's very literal. What you tell the subconscious, it believes to be true, and it doesn't know fact from fiction. So what we do in that moment is all those leaves are put on the tree by the subconscious mind. And the person doesn't have to know what each leaf is. The subconscious mind does. So we're able to eliminate and get rid of everything in the subconscious that the person no longer needs or wants without re-traumatizing them. And so when I have people that go through this exercise and they come out, people that have had severe trauma, and I ask them, think about what happened to you. A lot of things that I hear is, gosh, it feels like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. When I think about what happens to me, it's almost like it happened to someone else, like I'm reading about it in a book, because they no longer have that emotional connection to it anymore. So we can't unfortunately erase the memory, but they just have no reaction to it. They have about as much connection to that trauma as they do a brick in the road. It's just not part of who they are or what they experience anymore. And for a lot of people, that's healing.
That's beautiful. I love the metaphor. Thank you for whoever just posted comments saying that yes, the crackling is coming through. I took off my AirPods, so I don't know what is going on. So I apologize everyone for the noise. Yeah, the tree metaphor is beautiful, and it's funny when you talked about like lighting up the leaves in the fire.
Mhm.
It's getting worse. I have no idea. Can you hear that too, Dr. Q?
Yeah, I can hear the crackling. I'm not sure what it is.
I have no, maybe it's a bad connection. I have no idea. So I actually, as part of the program, at the beginning, so I give my clients exercises to do, right? And one of the exercises is to write a goodbye letter to whatever you are holding on to, like you want to let go. And then I encourage people to burn it or whatever, just so it's like a physical thing. You're getting rid of it, you're letting it go, you're moving forward. So yeah. So I'm just looking at the questions here. So David, thank you for joining us. I have never had hypnotherapy, so I can't speak about that. But I have a situation where friends and family tell me to leave my old girlfriend alone, who might be screaming that they are wrong.
Well, you really have to ask yourself, what is it that's going on with you that's drawing you to that person? And if they're not good for you, then you got to kind of step back and ask yourself, what kind of need am I trying to get fulfilled with this person? And the problem that I see with people is if there's a deficit within us, we will seek out people in a hope to try and get them to fulfill that deficit. And you hear that a lot with children that came from alcoholic families. They might grow up and say, I'm never going to marry an alcoholic. And then they meet someone, they fall in love, and lo and behold, the person is an alcoholic or becomes an alcoholic, because there's something going on in our subconscious mind that recognizes that deficit. And so the idea is, I didn't get the love that I wanted or needed from my parents who were an alcoholic, so I'm going to get it from this alcoholic. And so you see people repeating these patterns over and over again. So when you're in a relationship that doesn't satisfy you, you have to really step back and say, what's going on with me inside that's having me attracted to this person that's not good for me? And that's a good starting place. I'm attracted to people that are not good for me. I need to understand what void I'm trying to fill by attracting these people. And once you figure out that void, and you fill that void in a healthy way, then you're no longer attracted to those people. They're just not, you just have no interest in them anymore.
Right. And I always tell people that in order to be in a happy, healthy relationship, it starts with you, and it starts with loving yourself, and it starts by being happy and confident and being in the mindset that you want to share life with someone, you want to have a partner, not coming from a place of needing, right? So I do hear from time to time people saying, I need a partner in order to be complete. I need a partner in order to be happy. If you're in that state, you will never find and attract the right kind of partner, right? So let's talk a bit about that, Dr. Q, and what your thoughts are on that.
Well, you're right. Unless you are a good, healthy person, you're going to be more susceptible to finding other people that are not healthy. And a word that comes is codependency. You hear a lot of that in relationships, which is very toxic, because you're both trying to fulfill these needs that are unmet when you were younger or through life. So I always encourage people before they start dating to become the healthiest you can be. so that when you bring someone into your life, you're bringing someone into your life to accent your life, not to fill a deficit. And when you come from a place where you're bringing someone in to accent your life or to make it better, you're coming from a place of power and not weakness. And so that self-confidence, that's another thing that I hear with people. I don't have good self-confidence or self-esteem. And that can be in all areas, work, that could be in their relationships, that could be financially, changing jobs. So that self-confidence really is a big factor in how we view ourselves, and then the people that we attract. Because if I meet people all the time that have low self-confidence, and they're in abusive relationships because they don't have the confidence in themselves to say, no, I don't want this anymore, and leave the relationship. So there's a lot of work that it can be done, and very quickly, to help people move past those things so they can really find the relationship that they're looking for. And everybody that's out there viewing this, there is hope. You can change. You can become healthy. You just have to find the right combination for you to do that. And once you do that, your life just changes exponentially in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. By the time people come to me, they've lost hope, right? And they're like, okay, I'm willing to try this. I've tried a lot of different things, and I've seen so many amazing and positive breakthroughs with clients. Right? They ended up. A big misconception is that there's no vegan singles out there. Well, yes, it's small, but it is not impossible, and it just takes one person.
Yeah.
Right. And so on multiple occasions, I've had clients meet in my program, taking the program at the same time, meeting and starting to date. And we're talking about a very small pool here. I only work with a handful of clients at a time. And so it's just so fantastic and beautiful to see this. And so I'm all about giving people hope. I know that the vegan singles are out there because I've been doing this for so long. So I have so much optimism, and because I know and I've been able to help a lot of people. And so, if you're in this group, and you're obviously single, if you're in this group, you want to find love. And I often see a lot of people saying, love is going to happen by chance. You're just going to meet someone organically. Yeah, you can. Of course, anything can happen. But I really believe in going after what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to find love, you have to put in the time and the effort. You have to do the deep internal work, even though it's tough and it's hard. But that's all part of it. Because that's all going to lead to having a beautiful, healthy, deep relationship.
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting. I was talking to someone just yesterday. She said she wanted to be in a good, healthy relationship. I said, well, what does that look like? And she wasn't sure. I said, well, I would suggest you write down your ideal man and the traits that you're looking for, because once you write it down, then you put it in your subconscious, you put it out in the universe, and you're more likely to attract that person.
Yeah, that's actually one of my exercises as well in my program. There's something real about writing it down.
Yeah.
And I often hear people saying that they are super picky. And that's a story they're telling themselves, because I'm like, okay, so what does picky mean to you exactly? And they're like, well, I want someone who's vegan, who has a good job. And I'm like, okay, that's not being picky.
Right.
But they internalize it, and they're saying, I'm single because I'm too picky. I'm single because there's not enough vegan singles. I'm single because blah, blah, blah. These are all stories that you're telling yourself, and your subconscious mind will start actually believing it.
Yeah. They become blockers. Yeah, they become blockers for people. The more you tell yourself something, the more it becomes true in your subconscious mind. That's why affirmations are important, and mantras. People say them over and over again. And the thing about, if you've had an experience where you've been out in maybe a club or you've been somewhere and you see something that you're attracted to, it's your subconscious mind that's making that connection, because your subconscious mind, it's much more powerful, much more deeper than, oh, they look nice. It knows that person intimately on some level that allows us to be attracted to them. And then if we find a good relationship where it's like you almost knew the person your whole life, again, your subconscious mind, and some people consider the super subconscious mind, which is your highest self, is your soul, your spirit. So you got these, things beyond our physical world that are interacting with our conscious and subconscious mind, that's bringing people together. And if you're not healthy, you're going to attract the wrong people. So if you really want a healthy relationship, like you said, it starts with you and you becoming the healthiest, because then you'll attract healthy people. But if you're unhealthy, you're going to attract unhealthy people.
Thank you. That's what I've been saying all along.
Yeah. And people, the thing about it is people don't know how do I get to, do I spend 10 years in therapy? And I have people say that, I've been in therapy for 10 years, 12 years. I don't feel any different. We do 1 or 2 sessions of hypnosis. Everything just changes. It just changes overnight for them, because you're going to the root of the problem and making that change. And once you make that change, it just becomes the way it is. The new neural pathways are established, and people feel immediately different.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And I'll be able to report back to all you guys, because I'm going to have a session with Dr. Q. I have asked him to help me cure my sweet tooth. I'm like, I love going to the gym. I'm a total gym rat. I eat healthy like 80% of the time, but I have a sweet tooth. I'm trying to lose 10 pounds. I'm really trying, but I'm having a hard time. So I'm going to report back. So I'll see if Dr. Q can cure me in 1 or 2 sessions. And really excited about that. So I still see that we have people watching live. So if you have any questions, again, leave them in the comments. I apologize for the crackling. I'm sure Dr. Q and I are going to collaborate again, do more stuff, because this is just so fascinating. And I'm all about giving you guys, again, as many tools and resources as I can to help you find love, because I absolutely love. And I know it's easy, but I love love. I love being in a relationship. I've been in a relationship almost my entire life. And, I've been very fortunate to, first relationship ended in divorce, but it was a 15-year relationship. And, really, on the grand scheme of things, wasn't the most horrible thing ever. And then I was able to find love again. And life is all about sharing life with someone and the day to day. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping you guys, because I believe in you. And like you said, Dr. Q, earlier, everyone has already inside what is needed. It's about bringing it out. So, someone saying, what if you find your soulmate, but never more of you are not in this positive, healthy mindset? The relationship failed. Have you let go of that love? I try to wish for his happiness as I want that for all people, but I'm wondering how to slowly open up my heart again. So yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, I help people a lot, Lee, when there's a breakup, to cut those emotional ties with the old person. And we do that under hypnosis with what's considered Gestalt therapy, or empty chair. So what I have someone do under hypnosis, we go into a room, there's 2 chairs, they sit in one room, and then I have them imagine the other person that they want to cut the ties with. And we actually talk to that other person and negotiate with them, and then they fade away. And over time and time again, when the person comes out of hypnosis, I say, so think about that person now. And they're just like, I have no feelings or emotional connection to them anymore. And then they're able to move on. So again, just cutting those ties on the subconscious level can help you move past an old relationship.
Yeah, that's week one of my program, letting go. Right? I truly believe that if you're holding on to a past relationship, so many people are. I can't tell you, that's one of the most common things that I've heard is that someone, I had a client one time, someone I spoke to and said that she was married, her husband was like amazing, 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 and they ended up that he left her, and she didn't think that she could ever find someone of that caliber, and she wasn't able to let go. Right, so that's what was keeping her stuck from being able to move forward. And it's easy to get into that dark place, right? After you go through a really bad, breakup, bad trauma, it's hard to get out of it. But when you make the conscious decision to let it go and move forward, that's progress, and that's how you're able to move forward in the right direction.
Absolutely, and I worry about people that jump from relationship to relationship to relationship. I find that when someone tends to do that, it's that perpetuation that they're trying to fill a void, and they just go from the next person. And the idea is just fill the void yourself, and then you're coming into a relationship in a much better place, and you won't have that need that you're trying to get from another person.
I know. Unfortunately, that is my sister. Bad relationship after bad relationship her entire life. Abusive partners, terrible men. And it makes me so sad because I'm her little sister. She won't listen to me. But she has really low self-esteem. And she just doesn't think she can do any better.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
She's completely wrong about that. And that, it breaks my heart to hear that, because, there is a lot that someone can do to change if they get the right help. And that's really what I love about doing what I do. And I'm sure you do about yours. Every day we wake up and help people in a way that, they didn't think is possible. So all your listeners out there, there's help out there. There's ways to get, no matter how bad you think it is. And as a psychologist, I can tell you, I've heard the worst of the worst. And those people have gotten better. So, there is help, and be hopeful, and seek out qualified people that can help you, because there's no reason for you to live that way. There's a different way, a better way to live.
I agree. I mean, life is so short. So to me, it's about living life to its fullest, enjoying every day. And it is absolutely possible for anyone to be happy and fulfilled, single or not single or whatever. But it all starts with wanting to change, with wanting to, to want something different, right? You have to go after it. You have to really make the first step. And I know it's hard, but it's often just getting over the first step, right? So, yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good things we can do.
Definitely. So if anybody else has questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. If you're watching the replay, again, please leave a comment as well. Dr. Q and I will read and reply to all the comments. So please feel free to take advantage of this really unique opportunity. And I thank you all so much again for watching. If Dr. Q or I can help you in your search to find love, we would love to hear from you. It's just about making that first initial step. All right. So again, leave me a comment. Please let me know what resonated with you, and let me know if you have any other suggestions for other topics that you would like me to cover. And if you have any questions, again, just leave a comment. So thank you so much again, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Q. It's been really, really, really informative.
And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's nice talking to you today.
Thank you.